Hey, I'm Lisa Canning and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today's video is all about overwhelm and how to overcome overwhelm in our busy lives. I've just gotten home from a really fun TV segment I did. If you want to check out the clip, you can take a peek. I was talking about spring cleaning tips. I love live TV, it's so much fun. So this is a real talk video. This is a series of videos that I like to call real talk. It's stuff that I deal with very personally. It's stuff that I find is sometimes kind of difficult to talk about. My husband and I recently recorded a video on how depression and anxiety is a very much part of our life. My husband in the past has suffered through clinical depression and is diagnosed with anxiety, and basically anxiety is something that's in our life all the time, meaning that we constantly deal with how to handle it, cope with it, thrive through anxiety. So you can definitely check out that video. You know, something like depression is really interesting because I find it's a challenging thing to talk about. There's still a bit of a stigma, regardless of how much openness there is at the same time with things like Bell Let's Talk Day and many celebrities who have spoken openly about their depression and anxiety. But I do find that there is still quite a bit of a stigma, and the only way that we can kind of you know, get over the stigma and have it not be something that's challenging to talk about is to just keep talking about it. So this is why I really like this series of real talk. You know, balancing life and work and family and home responsibilities and friends, all these things in life is super, super hard. I deal with overwhelm, like I said, on a daily basis. But I do believe with strategic life design, all moms can feel happiness, fulfillment, and balance. And so that's why I really like this series. So overwhelm, let's get into overwhelm. But first, oh, why is coffee so good? Today I'm drinking a Starbucks Americano, my go-to drink all the time. What are you drinking? What let me know in the comments below what your, you know, go-to drink is, especially if you need like a comforting pick-me-up. This is my go-to when I need a comforting pick-me-up. I'd love to know what yours is. Let me know in the comments below. So I want to tell you what my morning was like today. It was terrible. I didn't set my alarm clock, so I didn't get up at the normal early time that I do, which is early enough to be up for a little bit and not feel overwhelmed when the kids get up themselves. Didn't do that this morning, and so I was thrusted into, Mom, I'm hungry, where's the milk, where's the cereal, there's no milk bag left, can you go get one? I can't find my sock, I can't find my communication bag, like where's this, like this is itchy, this is too wet, I can't, on and on and on and on, times my beautiful 6 children. 7 if you count my lovely husband, who misplaces his belt more times than I care to tell a story about. But it was basically all for a good like hour. And then on top of that, I had to obviously get ready for this live TV segment. So I was also thinking about, okay, I have to, you know, this morning before I leave the house, I need to make sure that I'm dressed well, full face of makeup. My hair has to be somewhat like non-disheveled. P.S. Anyone else who is a breastfeeding mom or is pregnant or recently pregnant, like do you see this? Like, it doesn't stop. Like I have been pregnant or breastfeeding for the last 8 years essentially, and my hair is just a constant work in progress in terms of how much shedding occurs. My carpets have so much hair. Anyways, moving on. So I had all these things to think about, and let me just tell you, the morning did not go well. I did not handle myself in a graceful manner at all. I was the opposite of graceful. I was the opposite of positive. I was just a big fat mess this morning. And I gotta be honest with you, it was terrible. I yelled, I whined, I nagged, and it was horrible. And then I played whack-a-mole with my feelings. My friend, Susie Miller, she's a marriage coach, and she does all this great stuff over on her platform. She has this expression, you know, playing whack-a-mole, like at the carnival, with your emotions or with yourself. And I certainly played whack-a-mole with myself. I was like so mad that I was so mad, and I just beat myself up at the same time, telling myself, you know, you're so much, like, how could you do that? You know, you should have been more prepared. Why were you so mean to your husband? Why were you so mean to your kids? You didn't need to yell like that. Oh my gosh, like, you're terrible. And so overwhelm, this is all to paint the picture that this morning I was so overwhelmed. And I was ready, to be honest, to wave the white flag of, I can't do this anymore. You know, like, I'm just too tired. This is too hard. And I'm done. But then I got to the segment, and then the segment went well. We had a great lunch. We drove home, even though there's a ton of traffic. Had great conversation with my babysitter who came with me with the baby. We sang some songs on the way home, and I feel so much better. Like, so much better. Like, literally sitting here right now, I feel complete stark opposite than I did this morning. So this is why I love to talk about this. If you will, I'm an expert at feeling overwhelmed. But I want to share with you, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're at home with young kids and feeling like, when is this ever gonna end? Is my life ever gonna change? You know, is there hope? There's so much hope. And there are great strategies that I've learned along the way that can help you immediately perk up and immediately put things in perspective and get over that overwhelm. So are you ready? Are you ready to get over some overwhelm? Oh, that's a hard thing to say. Get over overwhelm. Are you ready to get over overwhelm? Well, I am. And here are a couple of my strategies that I use all the time to get an instant relief and instant progress in making your day better and getting out of overwhelmed feelings. So the first thing I love to do is, oh my gosh, essential oils. Okay, so I happen to have a ton of doTERRA, but I've tried other brands as well. I just love this stuff. Just one sniff, it like connects with my gut. I don't know anything about essential oils, like why I feel like it connects with my gut. I have no idea. I am not the woman to talk to you about why essential oils work, but just one deep inhale, it's like a very quick reset. As moms, we don't always have the luxury, obviously, of, guys, I need a 15-minute coffee break. It just doesn't happen. I cannot leave my toddler and my infant alone to fend for themselves. It's just not safe. But I can, you know, take a moment to take some essential oils between my hands, or put them on your temples. I also diffuse. I have, if you look right behind me, I've got a diffuser right there by Sage. I really like that one because it's beautiful. Like, look how it's like, look at it. It's so beautiful. So I will diffuse essential oils as well. I diffuse essential oils like basically all day because I find it really helpful. It's like a natural mood elevator as well as room smeller gooder. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. So that would be my tip number one, is essential oils. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert in like what is in essential oils that are really nice, but the ones that I like are Easy Air. This one is one of my favorites for sure. I've also recently gotten into Whisper. My lovely friend Sarah Walker gave me Whisper, and this is a really nice scent. But what I can definitely tell you is anything with lavender, I find, is very calming and soothing for stress. I also like anything with lemon, and I believe the essential oil, and again, I'm no expert in this, but I believe it's called Melissa. Apparently is one that's also very calming, and makes me feel, you know, not as stressed and not as crazy. So my first tip to like instantly getting out of an overwhelmed period is to use an essential oil. My second tip, and this one is a harder one, I'm not gonna lie. My second tip is to take a deep breath and just be thankful for something. Okay, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take you back to how I was feeling this morning. And this is what I wish I would have done in the 1.5 hours that I was overwhelmed and pissed off and cranky and then mad at myself for not being more kind to people around me. Okay, so what was I feeling this morning? I was feeling like there were so many things being asked of me. And what I wish I would have done in the moment was stop, take a deep breath, and then say, I'm thankful that there are so many things being asked of me, because that means I am blessed with children who want my attention. Or I would have said when the baby was crying in the midst of a whole bunch of chaos, I wish I would have stopped, taken a deep breath and said, the baby is crying, but I'm thankful he's crying because it means that he needs me. I think that it's so easy to feel being a mom requires a lot of sacrifice, and that is a reality. We can't change that. There's no like instant, fix of how much sacrifice is required to be a mom. But it's incredible the job we get to do. It's an honor to do this sacrifice because we are helping a person grow. We're helping a person become who they're meant to be. We're helping a person learn how to love and how to be a good, contributor to society. It's an incredible privilege to help somebody become a person. But that's a whole lot, that's very difficult to remember when everyone is yelling, when you just feel like it's literal ping pong of requests and, demands, and sometimes it's full out yelling. So I'm not saying that this is an easy one, but if we can remember that there is a flip side to all of the screaming and all of the yelling and all of the mess. There is so much mess because I have the gift of 6 little people I get to call as children. There is a lot of noise because I have the blessing of 6 little mouths who all want me. Here's the other thing that's awesome. Yes, sometimes it's annoying when everyone wants you at the same time. But hello, everybody wants you. They want you because they love you, because they think that you are their world. You are their hero. As moms, we are heroes and queens in the eyes of our children. And we don't, that's so hard to remember how they see us. So a second way to get over overwhelm, instantly, I argue, is if you just take a deep breath, calm yourself down with a cleansing breath, and just say, what can I find to be thankful for in this particular moment? So reframe the situation to something to be thankful for. That is very helpful to me. And the third thing, my last tip for this video, my friend, is to picture yourself in an hour. So I want to take you back to this exact morning, to this exact table where I felt like I was going to lose my mind. What I wish I would have done was also picture what I was going to look like, where I was going to be in an hour. So in an hour from when I was feeling super overwhelmed, I was going to be in the car on my way to my live TV segment. And not because I'm trying to escape my children. I'm not, that's not why I'm presenting it this way, but simply because these things pass. Overwhelm passes. And sometimes you can use almost an image of yourself in the future to help propel yourself out of this very sad, challenging, down in the dumps funk. And you can say, well, listen, self, in an hour, this is what your life is going to look like. The kids will be off to school. You will sit down and have a cup of coffee, or you will drive to the Starbucks drive-thru and get yourself a tall Americano. I still wish that there was Uber Eats, coffee, but hot. So really what I want is a coffee truck so that it's fresh Americano right outside my door. No, and I realize I have a very lovely coffee machine behind me, literally right behind me. But sometimes when you're holding a baby, you just want someone else to make it for you. So really what I need is a barista in my house. Okay, I digress. But basically, if you can, if you can imagine yourself an hour or 2 hours, whatever it is that's realistic, from when you're feeling overwhelmed, I think that can be really helpful. I follow this guy named Dane Sanders, and he has a whole awesome email sort of campaign type thing on how to get over cell phone addiction. I used to have, and I be honest, I still struggle so much with being too attached to my phone. And I talked about this like in my last video, if I'm not mistaken, about how my daughter literally drew a picture of me holding a cell phone, and that was a massive wake-up call about how much time I was spending on my phone. Yeah, such a problem. So anyways, Dane Sanders has this really cool thing where he walks you through how to get over cell phone addiction. And one thing he suggests you do is sort of like posit this question back to yourself. What would my future self want? So just to give an example of eating, he gives this example where he went to the kitchen and he didn't know what to eat. He like opened the fridge or whatever, and he was tempted to go for something like quick and starchy and carby and sweet. But instead, I think he asked his wife, if I remember the story correctly, he was like, wife, like what would my future self want to eat right now? My present self wants to eat all the bad stuff, but what would my future self want? And then his wife was like, how about you do some scrambled eggs? I think that's what the example was. And he was like, I'm going to do scrambled eggs because that's what my future self would want. It might take a few more steps. It might be more convenient for me to grab the starchy, sugary thing, but my future self would have wanted me to eat scrambled eggs. And I think we can do this, that exact same question, which really relates to my sort of suggestion to picture yourself in a future setting. When you're about to snap at your child, or you're about to nag your husband, or you're about to just like pull your hair out, literally pull your hair out because you're so frustrated, ask yourself, how would my future self want me to act right now? What would my future self want? What are your strategies for handling overwhelm? I would love to know. Please let me know in the comments below, and please let me know if you liked this video. Do you like this Real Talk series? What are other things that you would want to hear me talk about in regards to motherhood, work-life balance, and designing your life around your most important priorities? And don't forget to subscribe below and you know, hit that nice little alert button so you can know when I've got new videos. I'm just so grateful. And if you think that somebody would benefit from this video, if you can think of a mom who feels overwhelmed right now, please feel free to share this with them. I am so happy to be on this journey with you, and cheers to designing your beautiful life.